The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hello, hello. Good morning or good day to everyone out there. This is the Welcome to the New Nadex Platform webinar. Today is August 26th, and I am your host for this webinar today. My name is Adam McCaden. If you haven't been around to any of the other webinars where I've been on, I'll quickly go over. I've been on Nadex for a few years now, about 3 years, working heavily in our product department, sort of. So looking after all of our product offering, and also heavily looking at this new platform that we've been developing and making sure that it is up to stuff for all of you traders out there. So we are just going to quickly go over all of the platforms today, but before we do that, we do need to go over this nice disclaimer. If you've been on a Nadex webinar before, you have probably seen this disclaimer here, so I'm going to give you all a few minutes to read this. It very basically says do not trade on money that's not your discretionary income. Also, trading at Nadex and really trading everywhere involves risk. So you never want to be using money that you need to eat, for food, for rent, because to trade, because you can always lose that money. There is risk involved in any kind of trading at Nadex and really anywhere that you are trading. The one other thing, I will be placing some sample trades really on the demo account today to show you around the new platform. Just know that that's not a I'm not telling you to make any of those trades. I'm not recommending any of those trades. I couldn't do that if I wanted to, as I am a member of the exchange here, and I don't know if any of you really want to have my trade recommendations anyway. All right, so moving on here, I think we've had this up on the screen for enough time to read through it. So really quickly, this is the agenda we're going to go over today. Super quickly, we're going to go over the new layout, how you place your orders, where everything is on the platform, how you're going to go ahead and manage your position. We're going to go over the settings, everything in the settings of my account section. I'm saving the charts for last there just because there is a lot to go over on the charts. There's a lot of new features that we added to the charts, from the old platform to the new one. So do want to make sure I have time at the end there to go over everything, but I am also aware that not everyone out there uses our charts. Some of you might use third-party trading tools. So I am putting it at the end just in case you are one of those people and you don't want to stick around, but hopefully you will and see some of the new charts that some stuff there that you like, and maybe even use some native charts a little bit more in the future. Before we get right over to the platform, here's our nice contact us page. So if you do have any questions during the webinar, I actually have the chat up over here, so I will be able to see and answer any questions that you have while I'm doing the webinar here. But if for whatever reason I don't see any of them, don't get to them, you can definitely go ahead and contact our great customer service team at customerservice@nadex.com. So that's going to be probably the best way to contact someone and get a quick answer to any questions you might have. Also, we have recently implemented live chat, which I will go over and show you how to get to in the platform. And that's also going to be another great way to contact our customer service department and maybe ask any of those questions that either I don't get to answer today or just really aren't in the scope of this webinar. If you do, enjoy what we're doing here at Nadex, definitely go leave us a review. We have this Trustpilot page here, and I will bring this up later in the webinar as well. And then we have all of our great social media accounts there at the bottom, and we have a really great social media manager too. She's always posting some cool stuff. So give those a follow if you want to stay up to date on everything we are doing. All right, so that's been the very quick and dirty, getting the introduction out of the way. Now let's jump into the new platform here, shall we? So you should be seeing now, so this is the new Nadex.com. So as a little bit of a background, we did switch up both switched the platform to this new platform, as well as switched the website up a little bit. This would have been early July. It's kind of we're trying to put a new face forward for Nadex, trying to make something that is a little bit easier for everyone out there to use. So I do think this website is a little bit easier to navigate. Definitely give it a look through, but you should be able to find everything that you could find on the old site on this one, plus a little bit more, some new Learning Center stuff, some new blogs. So definitely take a look around that. But to actually get to the new platform, you're going to very simply go to nadex.com like I have up here in my top bar and just go to log in. This is going to give you the login screen for the new platform here. So I'm going to log in with my trusty demo account, and everything that your username, your password obviously will be the same. It will work on both the old platform and the new platform, so nothing will change there. And we're in as we wait for this great loading screen to load up here. All right. So this is the interface for the new platform here. We first see on the left-hand side, we have our different products. So we have our binary options, our call spreads, and our knockouts. So this is going to be how you navigate through the different products. And you can see as I click on these, we have our different market classes. So you're going to see is Forex, events, commodities. And then down here, something actually important to note, if you are looking for the 5 and 20 minutes, the 5 minutes is not going to be in Forex, and the 20 minutes won't be contained in indices. They're going to be in their own little separate section down there at the bottom where you can see all your 5 and 20 minutes there. So moving on, let's open up a deal ticket. So how would we go ahead and do that? So if we click in and I'll just choose randomly. I'll start with an index today. And let's go with the Tech 100 sounds good. So I am going to, excuse me, I'm going to go ahead and let's do the daily contract. So you can see as I'm clicking into this left-hand panel, I can see all the markets that are indices, and I can also see all the expirations that are currently available to trade. Actually, let's do a 2-hour because this 2-hour just opened up, so we should have a good amount of pricing here in this product right now. Let me change my the amount of time that I'm showing here just so you guys can see a little bit better on our chart here. So you can see as I'm clicking either the buy or the sell on this left-hand panel, it's going to bring up both my deal ticket and it's going to bring up my chart in the middle of the screen for that market and for that contract. You can also just click directly on the strike price itself, and that will also bring up a deal ticket. It just won't select the side, that buy or sell side for you as soon as you click on that. So let's just choose a random strike. This is 11/9/09, expiring at 2 p.m. Sounds nice. So as we move over to the right-hand side, we see our deal ticket. Again, it should be fairly familiar to any of you that use the old platform, or if you've used Nadex Go as well. It does look quite similar to the deal tickets on Nadex Go. So we have the indicative price up at the top. The indicative price obviously is an indicator where the current market is. And we have that right here, so you can kind of see how close it is to the strike you have selected. We have the how long until the contract expires. So in this case, 1 hour and 50 minutes, and that's going to be at 2 p.m. And that is always important to remember that these times on the deal ticket and all the times in the chart are Eastern time. For those of you that don't live in the Eastern time zone, I actually don't live in the Eastern time zone either. We are located out here in Chicago. This is something that we have to do kind of to not get too far into the weeds of explaining it sort of for regulatory purposes, for keeping all of our times the same and the contract time and naming the same. So I do know that it sometimes can be a little bit confusing if you aren't living on the East Coast. But always remember that this exchange time up here, that's going to be kind of your point of truth for the actual time that you want to be going off of. So going further in the ticket, obviously we have the buy and the sell side here. So if I think obviously this contract will expire greater than 11/9/09 at 2 p.m., I could buy this contract. If I think it's going to expire under that strike price or equal to that strike price, I can go ahead and sell that contract. Pretty straightforward. If I want to see the market depth, I can go and see not only the top of book, but I can also see the other offers that are out there in the market. Next, we have our order type. So this is just going to be your limit order or your market order. Just for today, I'm gonna stick with using limit orders so you can see the price and the size column. Obviously, with market orders, there's no price column because it's giving you the best available market price when you place that order. So let's go ahead and place an order and see what happens here. Actually, let's get a more You know, I'm going to do a market order just so because these prices are moving around a little bit. We got a little bit of volatility going on in this market right now. So rather than me trying to catch that with a limit order, I'm going to do the market just so we can get in a little bit quicker and I can show you all out there our position panel down here at the bottom. So a couple things of note, and I will go back to the charting later, right? Like I said, I won't take too much time on it now, but you should note that, you know, obviously we have the red and the blue shadings here on the new charts. And as I got into my contract, you can see it appear on the chart as well. Should be familiar to you. That did also happen on the old platform. It might look a little bit different just because we cleaned up the style just a little bit. Going down to the bottom panel here, this is going to be where you see your not only your working orders, but sorry, not only positions you see right here. You're going to see your working orders, and you're going to see your history. Right now, we do only have a 24-hour history, and I will touch on why that is and what we are doing to resolve that in just a little bit. But first, let's go over this panel down here. So first, we have the type. Obviously, this says binary options. If it was a call spread or a knockout, it would say the respective contract there. Moving over, we see the name of the contract. So this is a US Tech 100 contract. The underlying is that Tech 100 market that has a September rollover date. So that's that September right there. And then it has a strike price greater than 119.09. Obviously, that is the sort of line in the sand of the binaries that I need to be above expiration if I'm on the buy side, if I would like to receive a payout. Going further over, we have our indicative here. So the indicative is just going to be, again, an indicator of where the current market is trading. We have our expiration, so today at 2 p.m., time left, hour 47. Position, we have +1. If I was any sell side, this would be a -1 here, or if I, you know, sold 5, it would be -5. We have our average price, so that's going to be 75.5. So I paid that for one contract. If you are in more, that might not be as smooth a number or as easy to read a number. And then we have the current market price. So that's going to be what I could actually sell out of this contract right now back to the market, or what I could exit this contract for. Since I'm on the buy side, it would be selling back out. Then we have our profit and loss, and that's going to be if I exited this contract right now, what would be the profit or loss I would receive on the contract if I were to exit it early, right? It's always important to remember that the profit and loss, it is not what your profit and loss will be if the contract were to expire right now. It is purely what your profit and loss would be if you were to sell out of the contract right now. It is an important distinction. And you can always kind of tell what's going on here because your profit and loss will always be the average price minus the current price, or if you're on the sell side, the reverse of that, so the current minus the average price you paid to get into the contract. So again, it is always important to remember that this is the profit and loss if you are to sell out early, and not necessarily if you were to let that contract expire. Moving on, we can go to our working order panel here, and let me pull up a call spread contract, and we can show some working order panel. Just going to randomly choose one again here. Let's go for a daily euro dollar. Euro dollar is a fairly popular market. And I'm gonna do a market again. Actually, no, I'm not, because I want to show you a working order. What am I talking about? So let's do a price to get us in here. 160. Oh, why? Oh, there we go. 160. Okay. So I'm gonna place that order there. And we see that come up as a working order in my working order panel. Obviously, so this is a working order because I put this fairly far below where the current market is actually trading. So my limit order, if it ever gets down to that point and matches me, it will fill. But until then, it's going to sit in my working order panel here. So it should be fairly similar to what we just went over in the positions panel. We have our type. We have our contract name along with the strike prices, or really for the call spreads and knockouts, the floor and ceiling ranges. We have our indicative, the expiration. All of this should be really the same. The main difference that you're going to see on the working order panel is going to be this filled section right here. And so let's say that you put 5 contracts in, but only let's say you put 5 contracts in, but only 2 have filled so far. you would have two filled and then 3 still kind of remaining your working orders. Those 2 filled would move over to the open positions. And then I have the price that I would like to be filled out, and then I have the current market. I do see a question coming in here. Could you ask that question again, because I'm not sure if I understand exactly what you're asking there. So as I go through this, then the last panel down here would be the 24-hour history. So as a kind of a caveat to this, and I don't think I said this earlier on this specific webinar, we are still, this webinar is still in the phases of being built, and it's actually, or sorry, not webinar, wow, the platform. Sorry, I'm a little bit out there today at points. But the platform is still in the process of being built, and actually we probably won't ever stop working on it, right? We always want to be developing it, want to be making it better for all of you. But because we are still in the semi-early phases of development, we're only about a year in, and we are giving this to all of you, but it is ready to go, but there are still a couple features that we haven't finished. One of those features is the full history. So right now, this 24-hour history, that's going to be the best history that you are actually able to access on this new platform. We are working on getting a new, better history built for this new platform. I've actually seen some of the initial screenshots of what our designers and developers have been working on. It looks really, really nice. But for the time being, if you do need to see a transaction history or anything over a 24-hour period, you're going to want to go back and access the old Pure Deal platform. So very quickly, I will show you how to do that. Sorry, I have the question coming back in here. So the question is about the contract and what I actually paid for it. I had paid 75.5, and this is the current market. I'm not sure if I exactly understand the question there. I think it's really just the change since I actually got into that market. So going over to the old platform. So how are you going to access that other history? Is you can go here, and this is actually going to be the login screen for that old Pure Deal platform, that you can go back and get into. So I'll really quick log in with my other login information. And while I'm logging in here, no mind read 69. I have the question in the chat's asking about a difference in pricing, and it could be that you are looking on the live platform and I'm on the demo platform, which does have different pricing because they are completely separate environments. So I logged back in here. This is the old platform. You will still be able to access this old platform for a bit while we are still making sure everything is up to snuff on the new platform, right? So while we're still building this history and statements, while we're still finishing up all of the document upload, which is one of the other big things we're currently building in and making better. So you will still be able to access this old platform. It will eventually go away, the access to this, but we are going to make sure that we have everything over that you need of the new one before we do go away with this old platform. Probably mid-November is around the date that we will be doing that, but we will definitely communicate the exact date out to you far in advance. But if I do want to go see my my transaction history here, or a more in-depth history, I can go to my account. I can go to history, and from here I can, view my history. I can look at a lot of different things there. So that's going to be how you're going to look at your transaction history or any history back past 24 hours. Wow, I'm getting a little bit tongue-tied today. Maybe talking too fast. I'm going to go back to the old platform now. Always important to note though as well. Obviously, all my positions sort of exist on both the old and the new platform, right? So you can still currently trade on either. I would definitely recommend trading on the new one though, just because it does have a few better features, and we will be getting away from that Pure Deal platform, so that older platform. So would be good to get off that. I do see that question in here in the chat that demo live should be the same. That is probably a question for another day. There is a very good reason why they are not the same, but I could probably do an entire webinar on that. And actually, maybe that is a good topic for a webinar. So I'll actually gonna talk to our educational head here about maybe doing a webinar about that in the future. But just for right now, just in the scope of the webinar, and if you'd like to reach out to, I think we actually have things on our site that go over that. But if I were to go ahead and explain the exact reasoning for that right now, I think that would take up a little more time than we have today. But just for right now, to note, demo and live, they are completely separate environments. They are similar, but because you can place prices on either, right, as a trader, and they can show up other places, right? Because let's go to my working order. My price is sitting out here in the market, because that's not going to show up on the live environment. The pricing will be a little bit different. That's the very short version of it. But again, I will talk, and maybe that will be a webinar in the future that we can go over why it is a little bit different. So going back here, so I really want to quickly show in this working order panel. If I click my position in the working order panel, it's going to actually populate the ticket on the opposite side with the same contract and the same contract, the opposite side, and the same position size. Basically, what this is doing, if I click on my position in this open positions window, is it's sort of being smart, right? It's bringing up a position that will allow me to quickly exit my contract. So I can go ahead, click this, and now I can quickly, let's go to a market order so I can quickly get out. I can place that order, and there we go. Now I'm out of that contract. Similarly, if I click on my working order, I can either delete or amend my order. So if I put in this 11600 price, but now I'm thinking, okay, maybe I wanted it 11610, I can amend that. You're going to see the price change down there, or I can just delete my order overall. So that's going to be how you amend your order. I have a question here. There's a refresh button on the old platform to refresh prices. How do we refresh on the new platform? That is a very good question. That's actually been one of the things we've been getting a lot in feedback. So, and actually it's probably a good segue right now into sort of the my account and the feedback sections. So I will say that, so currently, to answer your question, the best way to do that is going to be actually refreshing the entire screen. We know this is not a good solution. And so we are building something currently. We are developing something currently on how to refresh that platform to make sure that that it is a functionality that you need. And yes, it does refresh the entire page, and that's not a great functionality for right now, but that's going to be the best holdover. But we are developing this new refresh button. So this is like I said, this is something we're constantly developing. We're constantly taking feedback from to actually go ahead and make this platform the best platform for all of you. And the way we're actually doing that is by looking into feedback, right? So we have this feedback button over on the left-hand side here. If you click that, you can say, hey, let's do, hey, give me a refresh button, right? And you could submit that, and that actually goes into a report that I and some of the developers, we all read every single day. So, and that's how we've actually developed a lot of the new features for this platform. One of the larger ones that I actually didn't go over, but I will show quickly now because it is actually a fairly big one that was heavily requested, was the tear-off charts and tear-off tickets. So in the very early stages in the platform in the beta, we got a ton of feedback through that feedback chart that we needed, multiple charts that people really needed to be able to tear off their charts, tear off their tickets, look at multiple markets, arrange them in the way they wanted. And so we created these tear off charts and tickets, and that actually popped up on my other screen, but I will quickly pull a couple up just to show you how these work. So let's say that I trade a lot of indices, and I trade the US 500, Wall Street 30, and the DAX, or the FTSE 100 as it's called on the platform, because it is the futures underlying. So I'm clicking these tear off tickets. It's popping up on my other screen right now, but I'm resizing them over here. So you can see that instead of actually having to click around into these different markets, I can pop these tickets off, and I can put them other places. I actually usually do put them on my other screen just so I have a different place to actually watch those and set up my second screen there. So you can fully place trades from these. You can go back and look at the price ladder and access the other expirations and the time frames, the other contracts as well. You can even open the charts from here. So you can set your chart up on here, and actually you can even hide the ticket. So let's say that you're the kind of person that likes 4 charts on your screen. Well, you can go ahead, hide your ticket, and trade like that, right? So you can really set your screen up however you'd like. So I really think this, I quite like this functionality. I use this all the time now. But again, this was something that we developed because we got a lot of feedback, and the refresh button is also another one that we are developing because we are getting a lot of feedback. So it is very important to give us your feedback. If you like this new platform, tell us. If you hate it, tell us. It's very helpful if you tell us why you hate it, so that we can try to address some of those concerns and build the different features for you. But we are really we do really want to make sure that we're building the best features for our traders to succeed, and make sure that this platform is something that all of you can use. So moving on from there, I'm actually going to close out these tariff charts and tariff tickets quickly here. I have a couple other questions coming in here. The live account doesn't say account value at the top. That's actually a good segue. So you can change these values up here. This is actually something else that we got in feedback and then developed. And actually was something I was about to go over anyway. So you're getting ahead of me a little bit. But if you go up to the top here, you can change these values. So let's say that I want to show my P&L, my available, and my reserved, or whatever you'd like to see there. You can change that up, and you can show or hide. You can also hide the values. So let's say maybe you trade in a public place on a public computer, or you trade on your phone a lot, and you're on a train, or I guess probably people aren't doing that as much anymore with the pandemic. But let's say you're out in public, for whatever reason you want to hide those values. You can do that here. If you aren't sure what those values are, you can always hover over this information bar, and you can read what these actual balances mean, what they are there. So that's probably going to be why you aren't seeing that, but you can go select the available balance there. All right, moving on here. I also see a question, can you roll over or double up when you place a trade? So if I'm understanding that question correctly, you can place multiple positions on the same position. For rolling over, you would just need to exit a contract and get into the next expiration, if that's what you mean, if you're talking about more rollover in the futures terminology sense. So all of our underlyings are based off futures as well, and obviously those futures roll over. So those do change from time to time, the actual end months. Going through a little bit more of the settings here. So we have the live chat button down here that we also implemented fairly recently. You can see that's going to pop out a new window for you, and you can either email us or you can start a live chat here. It's going to ask you for a little bit of information, and you will get in contact with one of our great customer service reps. They should be able to help you with a lot of these questions as well that you guys are asking in the chat, especially if I don't get to any, or something like the demo live question where I don't quite have time to fully explain it. That might be something that is a little bit better for asking some of our customer service reps, where they have a little bit more time to go into that question with you one-on-one. Moving down as well, we have the settings here in the bottom left. And so just very quickly going over these settings, because I do want to make sure that we have enough time to get through all the charting functionality as well. So we have our tolerance ranges here. We have our binaries, so that's this is $10 for binaries, which is the default, and $3 for spreads. And it gives you a little bit of a blurb about what this tolerance setting is. You can set it between 1 and 25. The important thing to remember, and actually this is going to come in a very, very soon update, that this actually this does spreads and knockouts currently. So this is going to control your tolerance settings for your spreads and your knockouts. But I think in an update we're doing maybe even later this week or next week, it is going to make sure that it says the spreads and knockouts there. Moving on down here, we have our default order types, so we can choose limit or market. If I go to market, many of you should see that it's popping up as a limit order, but now if I do this, it pops up as a market. I'm going to go back to the limit just because I prefer using limit orders, but it is personal preference or just your trading style. We also have the default contract size. The default contract size here, it is going to be at a base account, it's going to be 1. Unless you are always, trading 5, trading 10 contracts at a time, I would probably just keep it as 1 contract and put your size up here. I mean, you can definitely change your default size over on the left-hand side, but definitely if you have 10 contracts over here, make sure that you know that you want to get into 10 contracts every time you have that pop up. Because I have heard people before change that to 10 and then accidentally get into more contracts than they want. We definitely want to avoid situations like that. The 4th setting we have over here is our session inactivity. So if you are a trader that likes to have all your charts, all your tickets, everything like that set up throughout the day, you can change your session inactivity. So you can change it down to maybe 1 hour if you maybe use a public computer more often, or up to 12 hours if you want that to be open. And basically this is going to just control how long before it logs you out if you aren't clicking around, if you aren't doing anything on the platform. So that 12 hours is going to be the max there, but as long as you, in 12 hours, click around on the platform, place a trade, do anything like that, it's not going to log you out and you aren't going to have to set everything back up again. So moving on here, I'll quickly go over the My Account section. So we went over this top panel here. We also have the My Account section as well. This My Account section, so it's going to have first the account overview. It has this nice little bar here. It's kind of hard to see right now. Let me get into a larger position so we can just get into 100 contracts here. So I get into a larger position, and now we see that my balance is much more skewed here, right? So this is my available to trade. This is going to be my position value, and my reserve actually to have 0 in the reserve, but if I had it, it'd be down here in this yellow. So this is just a nice little visualization some of our designers whipped up to kind of show you what's happening in your account. And also, you have it in kind of multiple places here, so you can see your total P&L as well. Moving down, we have our residential address. So you can see my great, definitely not fake residential address here. It is a demo account. But on the live account, it's a little bit more important. If you do need to change that residential address, you can go here, click edit, and you can have a separate mailing address as well. Make sure you hit the save changes if you are editing that. And again, similar with the contact details, again, a very, very obviously real email address. And you can edit that as well on this page. And make sure you save the changes if you do make any changes. Again, if you are looking for histories and statements, I did go over this a little bit earlier, but here it's going to show you a little bit more clear. So this is going to be where they live when we do get those history statements into the new platform. But for right now, it's just going to pop up this button that actually tells you, hey, we don't have it quite yet. It's going to be good. It's going to be here. It's going to be good. But if you want to see it now, go to the old platform. The other thing that you aren't going to see on this webinar, because this is a demo account, but on a live account, this would also be where you would see your funding and withdrawal options. So this would be where you would add your cards, add your bank accounts, upload any kind of documents for bank statements, anything like that, withdraw those funds back to your account, etc. So that's all going to be in this section here. Then we also have this contact us page, so that's going to give you this customer service, and it's also going to give you our address. If you do want to send us snail mail or fax us, you definitely can, but I would highly recommend just sending us an email. It's going to be much, much, much faster for you to get a response that way, and especially in these times when we're not going to the office. No one's been in our office in downtown Chicago in probably since about mid-March. So I'm not even sure if anyone is actually, I'm sure actually we do have a system set up to get these this mail still. I don't quite know what it is, but the moral of the story is just email us. It's going to be way better for you. And then also, again, we have the feedback button here. So leave us your feedback. And then we have the log out at the bottom. So if I want to log out, I'm not going to click it right now, but you can log out there as well. So that's going to go over a lot of the deal ticket, the position panels down here, how you get in, get out of your trade, and how you manage your trades from these bottom panels, and a lot of the settings in the My Account section. So now let's go into the charts. So I really like the new charting features that we've created on this new platform. So I'm quite excited to go through these. We have changed up probably the most significantly from that old platform to the new. The most significant changes are going to be the ones that we had made to the charting. I see a question here. Explain what happens if I change the spread. What is the effect on the trade? You know, I'm not sure exactly what you are asking in that question. If you're changing what you're offering on the limit order side, that might be something that that our customer service might be able to help you out with a little bit more, and because I think it is a little bit outside the scope of this webinar. Oh, okay. If you're putting a limit order in to get a better, well, let's see what happens, right? So let's move out here a little bit wider so I can see. The question in the chat was, can you explain what happens if I change the spread? What is the effect on the trade? So he's referring to the bid offer spread here. That's going to be the distance between the bid and the offer, or the buy and the sell, as we call them at Nadex. So let's say on the buy side, I have this trading at 3466.1 right now, but I don't want to pay 3466.1. I can go ahead and, or it's trading at 3465 on the sell side here. I can go ahead and say, if I don't want to trade that, but I want to trade, let's say 3465.9. I could put that contract in. So that's going to go in as a working order, right? Oh, and it actually just hit. I was trying to put something in far enough away that it wouldn't, but it looks like it actually just came up and did that. So let me try this one more time. 6.5. Let's do point. The spread's kind of tight here. I'm trying to do something that I could be the top of the book here. It's picking me up every time. Let's do something a little bit further off, just so you can see. So you can kind of shorten the spread by being the best available bid or offer in the market. That's really not going to do much to the trade, just besides get you a price that you would like to get into at a little better price. But again, let's show something even further out, so it's not immediately picking up my trade here. Let's go 3460, and you'll see my working orders down here, right? You also see, if I click into the market depth, I can see my 3460 sitting out there, right? So if you are the best price on the market, it will show up as the best price in the market. So that is kind of how you can get a better price for your contract by doing that. You still do need someone to come along and take that off your hands, right? I'm not actually in this trade yet, because I need someone to actually come along and say, okay, I agree to sort of match with you on this price, shake hands, and you take the buy, I'll take the sell, or vice versa. But if that is the price you want to pay, you can see it does come out here in the market, and if someone is willing to take that price, that you can get filled at that price, and maybe even get a better bid offer spread than what is the best one that you see at any given time. So that kind of is a good segue into, so I did this on a call spread, and I did it on a call spread so you can see a little bit, first of all, the visualization of these new charts. So each of the charts is going to have a little bit different visualization to sort of show you what's going on. So here we see our call spread ranges. So we see this 3445 to 3475, and this bottom, that's going to be the 3445, and the ceiling here, the 3475. I am clicked on in blue, so that's going to be the edges are, sorry, the sell side, so the edges are going to be blue. And if I go, sorry, buy side, the edges are going to be blue. Man, I'm really tongue-tying myself today. I'm not sure what's going on. But if I click on the sell side, the edge is going to be red there. So it gives you that nice visualization for what's actually, what trade you are partaking in on the exchange. Also, we see here, I see my working order. It's going to be sort of grayed out over here, while the contracts I'm actually in currently are going to be either red or blue based on if I have a profit or loss. And we can see I have this +2 here because I'm in 2 contracts currently, right? So if I go over, I am in 2 contracts of this same exact call spread, and I do have 1 working order. Moving on, and I just want to quickly show you the different visualizations we have for all of the charts. We can go over to our knockouts. And we see the visualizations are a little bit different here, similar to the call spreads, because we do have the floor and the ceiling ranges, but you can select them a little bit differently on the right-hand side here. So it is just that little visual to, let you know, hey, you're trading a call spread, sorry, knockout now, not a call spread. And then I can press my buy or my sell. and then I can get into my contract here, right? So fairly simple stuff. And then going back to the binaries, I know I touched on it a little bit, but actually I haven't given commodities any love, so let's go to commodities very quickly here. We'll look into a daily nat gas contract. And so for the binary options, you'll see a couple. So we see the strike prices, and we see if I have buy or sell, it's shaded blue or red, respectively. So you can kind of see where you would need that to expire at the end of the contract. You can also see sort of a cool little thing. So if I'm selected on a contract, it's either going to be blue or red. If I'm not, it's going to be one of these dotted blue lines. And then if I actually have a contract out there, if I'm in one of these contracts, let me do a market order so I can actually just get into one really quickly. So I can see both of these here, but I can also see if I click down on a different line that this is actually now a black dotted line instead of a blue one, just kind of signifying that, hey, you do currently have a open position on that market. So moving on, let's go over some of the actual charting functionality. You also saw there that, so I just click these little arrows to get these to go down so I can see more of the chart. You can click those to bring them back up as well. But just for right now, I'm going to have the chart take up the full page just so you can see a little bit better what I'm doing. So charting. So you can either change all of the functionality of the charts, either from the top left-hand bar up here, or you can right click on the chart itself, and that's going to have all your options as well. I find this a lot better than the old method that would be on the old platform where you left click and then you'd have a bar that comes up on the bottom. I generally use the right click method, but if you want to go up and use this top left is also going to be the only place you can access the different candlestick time frames. So let's say I wanted to look at 30-minute candlesticks. Well, now I've changed my candlesticks to 30 minutes, but I think an hour is a better way to look at this market just visually right now so you can see everything going on. Moving over from that, I can change how much of the contract I'm actually seeing. So if I want to just see the last day of trades, I can look at that last day, and now you can see I'm seeing a little bit more of this market, and it has actually also changed my candlestick size to that 15-minute interval, just so it can fit a day's worth of market information on this chart. So moving on, we have our indicators. So I am going to right click here. So if I right click, I can see all the indicators that we offer currently on the platform. One of the cool new features I really like about these new charts is that this little information bubble, and it's not something huge, but it is something that, I've been trading for probably about 10 years now. I'm not on Nadex, unfortunately I can't as a member of the exchange or as an employee of the exchange, but in other places. But I still am not sure of what a lot of the indicators mean, right? Because I have mine that I use, but maybe if I'm ever looking for a new one, I can just hover over this information bubble and it's going to give me a little blurb of what actually these indicators do. So maybe I don't know what chalk volatility is. I can look over and say, okay, it's a volatility indicator and it's a trading range between high and low prices for both periods. So it's a little bit easier to at least get a little starting point to learn more about these different indicators. I would definitely, if you want to do a really deep dive, maybe do a Google and go into a little bit more depth with what these indicators do. But for a nice starting point for some information, these are going to help you out a lot. So let's throw a couple indicators on and see how that works. I'm going to throw RSI on just because I think it's one that's a little bit easier to understand just for a functionality kind of purpose. So I threw RSI on, and so you can see down here at the bottom, I'm going to see my indicator pop up, right? Or the RSI stands for the Relative Strength Index. Now, if I want to change my different periods or my different anything, so let's say I'm doing a moving average, and I'll throw one of those on as well. Let's say I have a moving average and I want to change the period, or have my RSI and I want to change my overbought, oversold ranges. I can go over to here to these little boxes that pop up, and if I click on it, now I can go ahead and completely customize my indicators. So let's say instead of a 14-day period for RSI, I want to do a 7 period, and I want 65, 35 overbought, oversold ranges. I can just apply all those there, and you can see it's changing my indicator here at the bottom. Same thing for the exponential moving average. I can change my, I can do a 15, 45, 80, right? I'm not going to click all the way down doing that. I can also change the colors of the lines here. So all of this is fully customizable just to make sure that it does fulfill the needs of whatever kind of trading you are doing or whatever kind of analysis you want to do. Moving on from the indicators, we have our drawings. So very similar to the indicators, the drawings are also going to have this nice little blurb. Some of them you might not need. I think we might all know what an arrow is. And I can draw my great arrow here pointing to nothing. But there are some drawings that aren't as straightforward. So maybe you want to know what a Fibonacci retracement is. You can go here and say, okay, look, Fibonacci retracement, it gives you these key support and resistance levels, and it's going to be based off of these Fibonacci levels. So I can now say, okay, maybe I understand that a little bit, and I can draw my Fibonacci retracements over this chart. I'm not really drawing them realistically here. I'm just clicking around, just so you can see functionally how you do this. You can also move the drawings, as you can see. You can grab them and move them here when this little panel comes up. Oop, this little hand comes up, and you can also resize the drawings as well with these little buttons up here and up here. So if I want to go ahead and actually take off these drawings, let's say I don't want any more drawing on my graph, I can say delete all my drawings. I can also say show my drawing toolbar. So this actually is fairly cool as well. If you draw a lot on these charts, you can put this, you can say show drawing toolbar, and you're going to be able to, just click directly on here to start drawing certain things, right? And I'm actually going to go ahead and delete all my drawings because I have really made this graph extremely messy, and none of this really means anything. I've just been clicking around. So I'm going to go down to this bottom. I'm going to say delete all my drawings, and there they go. They are gone. I can now move on to the next little bit here. You can also have this little snap to HLOC very quickly. That just means that it's going to snap to these high, low, open, closes prices there. So going on to our candle, our different chart types, we have our candlestick, which is the one we've been looking at this entire time. And it's probably one of the more recognizable chart types. We have our line charts, which is just going to be, your line that follows the market. It doesn't give you the high low because of the candlesticks. It's just going to be a pure line of where the market's trading. We have the HLOC, which is going to give you a little bit different representation of that same high, low, open, close you get with the candlesticks, but it does represent it a little bit differently, so it's not the same exact chart type. And then we have our mountain, which generally is just kind of shaded at the bottom, very similar to that line chart as well. And I saved this last one because this last one is actually brand new to this platform. You won't find it on the old platform, and it's going to be these Hike and Ashy candles. So I quite like using these candlesticks, but I would definitely say before you go ahead and use them, do a little bit of research on exactly what they do. I'm not going to fully go over what they do in this webinar. It would take up a little bit too much time. We only have about 10 minutes left, but it's very, very high level. It is going to you can see how it's sort of smoothing out. I'll go back to candlestick, and then I'll go back to Hike and Ashy. So it does more of an averaging calculation for those high, low, open, close prices, and it's going to give you a sort of smoother candlestick chart than you'll get with the pure candlesticks, right? So if you do want to use those, I think they're quite cool, but definitely do a little bit more research on that and make sure you fully understand, with everything you do in trading, make sure you fully understand it before you go ahead and do that on a live account with real money. Moving on down here, we have the price. So here you can change the price you're actually seeing, the displayed price for the ask, bid, mid, and last traded. Unless you have a really good reason to change this, unless you really know what you're doing to change this, I would highly recommend just keeping this at the bid. I'm sorry, the mid. The mid is going to be the closest representation of what that indicative pricing is, and it's going to be that closest representation of what the final outcome, final settlement value of the contract will be. You can go up to the ask. You see it's moving it up a little bit, so it's giving you the ask prices of that underlying market. And again, if I do the bid, it's going to be giving me the bid prices. But really, unless you have a great reason to go ahead and use that, I would highly recommend just sticking with the mid over any of those prices. And also, you can do the last traded, which is going to be very similar to the mid, but is actually just going to give you those actual last traded prices. Moving on to our scale here. So this is actually something that's brand new. So I'm actually going to remove the RSI so we can see all of our strike prices here. I did that by just clicking on this little X button here that you can see on the EMA as well. So with this scale, so right now it says linear, right? And I can see over here on the right-hand side that these are just prices of the market, right? So we're looking at natural gas, and these are different prices for this natural gas market, right? 26, 27, or 262, 263. If we click on percentage, though, you'll see this actually is changing to percentage calculations, right? So this is going to give you a very good representation of how much this market has moved since this first candlestick on the left-hand side of your chart, right? So if I actually line this up here and go all the way over, this is actually going to line up right with 0%. So you can see it's very useful for, let's say I'm hovering over this bar and I want to know, how much has this moved since this first candlestick? I have a visual representation on the left-hand side that it's about 2.3, 2.4%, somewhere in that range, right? So I can see very quickly, get a good idea of how much this market has moved over the period that I'm currently looking at on the chart. So I actually very often on my demo account when I'm trading on demos, I actually quite like this, and I keep mine on percentage, but it is a personal preference. The linear will also give you a good idea of where the actual levels of the underlying market is as well. Going on, we have this little show section here. So I'll quickly go over this, but this is just showing or hiding different things on the charts. Let me quickly put another drawing on. So I have my nice channel there. So I can show or hide my HLOC data. So that's going to be this stuff down here. Or sorry, that's going to be the stuff that's following my cursor. So you see that's gone. Now it's back. My drawing disappeared. Now it's back. My indicator disappeared. Now it's back. My open positions, working order, and timeline. So I can click these and you can see these overlays of the working order and open positions over here, and the timeline down here at the bottom will appear or disappear. We have the price changes as well. So down here in the bottom left-hand corner, and the price line as well there, which is going to show the sort of current indicative price that's going across, and you can hide or do that as well. Now, something kind of cool, I'm going to go over hotkeys here. So you can see for open positions, working order, and timelines, we have this little P, O, and T next to them. So you might be saying, well, what are these P, O, and T? What does that mean? Well, so those are actually going to be notations for hotkeys that you can use on the platform. So if I press P, I can just see that my open positions were hidden. So right over here, and I'll show that again. So I press P, and that's going to come back up. I can do that as well with my open. Sorry, that's my open positions. I can do that with my working orders by pressing O. There we go. My working orders hidden, and now they're back. And the timeline down here at the bottom, I can press T, and that timeline is hidden, and the timeline is back. So those are going to be the three that you can hide or show. You can also, though, change up the intervals. So you can see on this, when you're selecting the intervals, you have these little numbers to the right-hand side here. So if I just click into the chart and I start typing a number, 1, it's going to bring up this little interval box, right? So right now we're at 15 minutes. Let's say I want to go to 1 minute. I can just type in 1, and the default's going to kind of go to minute. So that's going to give me my minute candlesticks. I can, again, start typing, and I can do 1 and then say H, and that's going to give me my hour. So I can do that with day. I can do that with ticks, right? So I'm just going to go back right now to the 15-minute chart. But I know I just went through that extremely quickly, and I'm going to make sure we see the whole day here. So I know I just went through that very quickly. To actually know what these are and start using them, remember you can see them on the platform itself. Right here where my cursor is going over, that's where you're going to see these hotkeys. And again, in the show, you're going to see your P, O, and T here that are going to help you know those hotkeys as well. So just a little bit quicker way to navigate around the platform. Moving on here, I do want to make sure we get in for some questions by the end. So we have 5 minutes left, so I'm going to go quickly over these last few functionalities. So we have layouts. So you can save a layout. So let's say you like your indicators, your drawings, anything like that. You have set up the way you like them. You can save them. So I could save this as Adam's super cool layout, right? Adam's super cool layout, and I could save that. And now if I click save, and let's go to a different market here. Let's see what gold's doing. There's not much pricing on that gold market right now because those contracts are taken down to the end of the day. That is what happens at the end of contracts at the end of the day. And let me exit out of that. So now if I go and I put my layout, I can apply Adam's super cool layout. You can see I've done this a lot. I can click on that, I can apply that, and that's gonna bring back that exponential moving average. So maybe you have 2, 3 indicators that you really like how they work together and you always use them on the same chart. You can save that layout and you can always overlay them quickly to make sure that you have the best and easiest way to get your charting set up again. Going forward here, I can also, so that I showed you how to apply it, and let's say I no longer want Adam's super cool layout, I can go ahead and delete that. And now if I go into apply again, it's no longer there. So fairly straightforward stuff. I could also customize appearance. So this is going to allow me to customize the how my chart looks. So let's say I don't like red and green candlesticks. I am, maybe I'm a crazy man and I like my purple candlesticks. I like my yellow candlesticks. If anyone's an LSU Tigers fan out there, we have these great Tigers colors right now. So I can do that. I can show my grid, so you can see that line on the back. And let's actually make that grid a little bit darker, so you can see that going away, coming back there. So you can show that grid. You can also show the watermark. So I'm going to apply this real quick, and you can apply the changes. And so that show watermark, that's just going to show you the a watermark on the background of your chart. That's going to show you the current market you have selected. You can do this as well for every single one of your charting types. And let's say that you did all that, but now I'm double thinking these bright gold and purple candlesticks I have here. I can go ahead, reset the defaults, and that's going to give me right back to the beginning. Lastly, we have this export chart button. So I can click this export chart button. I think this is quite cool just because, if you have a certain setup that you like to see on the charts, or maybe you see something on the charts that you want to send in to customer service and ask a question about, you can, instead of taking a screenshot itself, you can do this export chart and you can see it popped up in the bottom left-hand corner. And I now have a picture of my nice chart. It's going to tell me my 15-minute candlesticks. It's the US 500 September rollover. And so I can keep this for, my later, I can keep this for later, for any analysis I want to do later on. I have a question. Can you make a black background? Hopefully in the future. We do know people want dark mode, and we really want to develop dark mode. It is surprisingly harder to develop than you would think to make everything dark. I was surprised by the amount of time that needs to go into something like that. But in the future, we would like to actually have a black background, but for right now, we do not have that functionality, unfortunately. It should be coming though, so keep your eyes peeled for that. And then one last thing very quickly on the charting, because this is something that I think gets overlooked, and it is quite a cool feature. So as I scroll in and out, what I'm doing right now is I'm scrolling in and out on my mouse, right? And so you can see the market is sort of filling to my screen, right? So right now it's the bottom is at the bottom, the top is at the top, for lack of a better explaining this. But as I scroll out, it's sort of fitting to my screen here. But if I grab this and I can move the chart around, now let's say I want to go back and look over here. Now as I scroll in and out, it's no longer sort of filling to my screen, right? So if I'm all the way up here and I'm scrolling in and out, the chart's no longer kind of fitting to my screen while I do that. So if I want to bring that back, or let's say maybe I'm way back here and I can't even find where my latest traded price is, I want to go to the most recent price and I want to go to and I want to bring back that functionality where I can scroll in and out. This latest price button, I can click that. That's going to bring me right back to this my latest candlestick, And it's also going to bring back that functionality where I sort of auto scroll. So if I scroll in and I scroll out, it's going to auto size the chart. So that's something I think is quite cool and not many people pick up on. You can also zoom in and zoom out with these zoom in, zoom out buttons at the top here. And again, this will scroll unless you kind of pull the chart like this, then it won't auto scroll with you anymore until you do the latest trade price. So I know that's always a little bit tricky to sort of tell during a webinar while you can't see what I'm doing with my mouse. But I'm hoping that was easy to understand there. So that is really going to wrap up everything I wanted to cover in this webinar. Thank you all for hanging out with me for the last hour. If you do have any questions, we're just going to switch back to the presentation real quick with our contact us page up, just so you all do know how to contact us. There we go. But if you do have any questions that I didn't get to in this webinar, please ask them now. And I'll give a couple of minutes for you guys to, ask those questions or go to any of our social media sites before I go ahead and end this. I'm not seeing any more coming in here, and I am very aware of the time that we're going a little bit over this hour. Can you watch this session again? Yes, it's a very good question. So this session will be uploaded onto our YouTube channel. They're generally uploaded within an hour or so, maybe a couple hours. If you do want to go ahead and watch, maybe not this exact session, but you want to go watch a session again right now, I have done a couple of these webinars in the preceding weeks, and those will be on the YouTube channel as well. And you can see our YouTube channel right here. So if I click on that, should pop me over. Maybe it won't. Okay. I think it's just because I'm presenting my screen. Yep, and I'm seeing one of our someone handling the chat there saying that it should be up later today and tomorrow at the latest. But this is our YouTube page, and you can see we have a lot of webinars here. So we have a lot of learnings here, a lot of webinars, a lot of market updates, a lot of information here. So definitely check out our YouTube page for any help. I am not seeing any more questions coming in, so I am going to go ahead and let's just bring this up as the final thing here, the final slide. I'm going to go ahead and end this webinar here, but thank you all for hanging out with me for the last hour. I know I've been sort of talking nonstop and trying to answer your questions. If you do have any more questions I didn't get to, definitely hit us up at the customer service at nadex.com or through live chat. Generally, I really hope you like this new platform. We did build it for all of you. I wish you the best of luck in going forward in your training, and make sure all of you stay safe out there in these weird times we're living in today. So thank you all for hanging out with me over the last hour. Have a great rest of your day.